If everything always came to us in this easy manner, it was just simple to get, it wouldn't be as rewarding. And the truth is, I am sitting in my dream apartment, in my dream city, living a life that my younger self used to pray for, but it would not be as rewarding or worth it if I never went through those low moments in my life. The moments that I wanted to give up or completely let go of the idea of everything that I've ever wanted are the exact moments that truly pushed me as a person. And what I have now would not be as valuable if I had never gone through that, because it built this version of myself who was able to sustain and keep what I want possible in my life. I have these results, but what I am most proud of is my ability to be resilient in my life. And I want this video to inspire you. I want it to motivate you and understand that if you are in a low point in your life, it is for a reason. It is trying to build the best version of yourself. And you have to go through the storm and the challenges in order to really get to the end result that we want. And it's really not the result that is going to bring us fulfillment in our life, because as much as I love where I live and I wake up every single day, I just feel happy. It's like an immediate boost of serotonin. I get to look out and I'm like, oh my gosh, I used to dream about this view. None of it would have been possible without embracing the lowest version of myself. I had to expand as a person, I had to evolve, I had to grow. And through that process came a lot of setbacks, a lot of bumps in the road, a lot of things that made me want to personally give up as a person. And I had to learn to embrace those low moments just as much as I learned to embrace the higher moments of experiencing everything that I've ever wanted. There's absolutely nothing in this life that is worth having that came in an easy way. A lot of times, we take certain things for granted because we just received it in an easy manner. The hardest moments of my life, the lowest times that I've ever had, are exactly what built the version of myself that I used to dream of becoming. I had to learn to embrace every single moment in my life that was not where I wanted to be in order to get to this point. Nothing worth having ever comes perfect to us. We have to let go of this idea of receiving the reward of something or being able to experience a result that we dream of having that will be as rewarding if we didn't put in the effort. Because the truth is, a lot of times people want certain results in their life. We can all agree that we want to experience a life that most people never live, that we want to have results. And a lot of times we aren't really willing to put in the effort or overcome those lower moments in order to get to where we want to be in our life. But that is exactly what we need to go through in order to get to the other side. And if everything was just simple and perfect all the time, there would be nothing of higher value. There's a lot of people, and I can agree to this myself. We all want a reward sometimes, but we're not willing to put in the effort or do what it takes to really get to that reward. We can achieve that. We can show up and we can have it, but there's going to come a point where we're really faced to look in the mirror and forced to do the inner work. And that's exactly what is creating the rewarding results that we truly want in our life. We're not wanting a result. We are wanting the version of ourselves who can sustain it, who is happy, who has inner peace. And the only way to become that version of ourselves who can enjoy those experiences is to embrace those lower moments in our life. The moments that we want to give up, the storm that we're going through, the conflicts that we don't want to overcome is exactly what we have to learn to go through in order to create a life that is expansive, that is rewarding, that allows us to continuously evolve as an individual. I look back on certain parts of my life and I wish I had gone through it even more. And sometimes it is those harder points in my life that I do want to return to in a weird way. And it's kind of like having this regret of I was going through those moments, but I didn't embrace the process enough of it. And I think I always just wanted to rush into the results that I wanted or to be able to experience a life that I always prayed for. I look back and I wish that I sat with myself more in those moments, that I didn't avoid myself, that I learned to embrace those uncertain moments. If you are currently in a season of your life where you feel like you're not going to get to where you want to be, you want to give up, you wake up every single day and you're just living this life that is the opposite of your potential, you know you want more for yourself, I'm telling you right now, you need to learn to embrace that moment. You need to feel it. You need to go through it. You need to stop avoiding the harder times in your life, because that is the only thing in your life that is going to make what you want more rewarding. You have to learn to sit with yourself, not avoid yourself. You have to learn through the challenges. You have to look in the mirror and realize, what is this season trying to teach me? Who is it trying to build? Because the more that we learn to embrace lower points and harder times in our life, the more that we can handle as the successful version of ourselves. If you feel like the universe is throwing a lot of challenges in your way, or everything is just going wrong, or you feel like you're being steered away from what you truly want, it's actually building the version of you who can hold that amount of success. And that is a type of mindset shift that is so important to have when you want to create more in your life, when you want to reach your potential, when you want to live in your purpose. Creating a life that is fulfilling is only rewarding and fulfilling when you learn to embrace the moments that do not exactly show you what you want yet. I sit in my dream apartment right now. I live in my dream high rise. I have the most amazing view that I used to dream about. I literally prayed for it. My younger self never thought this moment would happen. But guess what? A year ago, I was in the worst point in my life. I was going through a lot personally. I didn't know how to overcome it. It was just a lot to carry for one person. And through that period of time, I ended up in an apartment that was just like really run down. I hated it. I felt really unsafe living there. It was a small studio. I was living in the St. Pete area. And I was like, how did I get here in my life? Why am I living somewhere that I fucking hate? And how do I get out of this point? And now I look back and I realize I wish I embraced that moment more because it taught me a lot of things. And the more that we learn to sit with ourselves in uncomfortable circumstances, the more that we are going to be able to achieve for ourselves. Because it came a point where I had hit the lowest point in my life. I was in rock bottom living in that apartment. I'm like, get me out of this point in my life. I don't want to wake up in this apartment anymore. I want to give up. Instead of waking up in that energy every single day, I ask myself, how did I get here and how do I get out of it? And what is this trying to teach me? And how can I learn from this? And who is this trying to build? If we don't learn to embrace moments that we don't want to experience or results in our life that we don't desire to have, the more that we are delaying a future that fulfills us. And in that moment, I could have sat and been like, poor me, I'm such a victim. The world hates me. The universe doesn't want me to have what I want. But instead, I learned from it. And I realized, this is trying to teach me something. What is it trying to teach me? And how can I use it to show up as a brand new version of myself in my life? And guess what? That exact mindset and approach completely changed the trajectory of my life from that moment. It changed the direction. It allowed me to start embracing results in my life that I used to want for myself. But it was in those slow moments, the slow habits that I had to start changing. The way I showed up in my life, I had to start approaching my life differently as a whole in order to get to this better result that I truly wanted for myself. And now I sit here in my dream apartment and I feel like time has slowed down. I get to enjoy my life now. But this truly would not be possible if I never embraced that lower version of myself, if I never looked in the mirror and stopped avoiding myself. I had to go through the messy middle in order to achieve results that I'd always wanted for myself. And honestly, this isn't everything, and it doesn't mean that I'm ungrateful. It just means that I wish I sat with myself a little bit longer and understood that every low moment is building who I want to become. There is nothing on accident. Everything is absolutely on purpose. And we have to understand, what is this trying to teach me? Who is this trying to build for me? How do I use this to my advantage to completely change my life? That mindset will give you everything that you want, but not only will it give you everything that you want and allow you to live a fulfilled life, the deepest way possible will honestly make you feel like your life is worth living because your life wasn't perfect. You didn't have the best moments, you hit lower points, but you learn to use it to your advantage to change your life. And that's honestly what really humbles you when you start to have results that used to feel impossible, that you felt like you could never achieve. That's the way I feel. Even when I was applying for this apartment, I was like, there's no way. It's not going to work out. This isn't going to happen. But guess what? I just embraced the process and I did what I needed to do to get to this point. And how can the universe deny me of what I want when I put in the work, when I put in the effort, when I was willing to show up even when I didn't want to, when I made painfully slow habit changes in my life in order to eventually get to this result? So I just want this to inspire you and to understand that if you are in a low point, if you are depressed, you feel like your life is not going to get better, it will, but you have to learn to look in the mirror. You have to stop avoiding yourself and you have to do the work. You have to stop victimizing yourself. You have to stop acting like the world is against you, or that the universe doesn't want you to have what you truly want for yourself. None of that is true. It really just depends on who you show up as, how you approach your life, and the habits that you are changing every single day. Who are you embodying? How do you spend your days? What habits do you have? Because it is ultimately building the life that you want or moving you away from where you want to be. And it really is in those low moments that the version of ourselves that we dream of becoming is being built. That is just the perspective shift that we need to look at it in. The lowest moments of my life built this version of myself. I have to give credit to her, because if I didn't embrace being that version of myself, I wouldn't be able to be this version of myself who is sitting in things that I used to feel like were impossible. Your life will change once you start to realize that everything is absolutely working in your favor. Everything is always working for you at any given moment in time. No one and nothing is against you. If you allow your circumstances, the universe, or whatever you believe in to guide you to where you want to be, it absolutely will. But that doesn't mean that it's going to be perfect or easy. You have to be willing to go through those moments that are lower, that are harder, that are really building that version of yourself, because that is the only way that you're going to become the dream version of yourself who has results in their life that they used to dream about having, while also feeling fulfilled and feeling like you are living in your purpose and that your life as a whole has been meaningful. I know this sounds corny, but anytime it rains, it's always followed by a rainbow, which is the beautiful parts about going through the storm, going through those uncomfortable moments, the circumstances that you don't want to be experiencing. I promise you, it is all working to your advantage, and you need to learn to embrace it and really look in the mirror and determine, what is this trying to teach me? How can I change in my life? And how can I get to where I want to be? I hope this inspires you to get up and change your life and become the version of yourself that you are always meant to become. And I will see you guys in the next video.